Hey, welcome back to Score on Business. And so, Destin, you were talking about, I know several business brokers, and the issue of people having, you know, their essence wrapped up in the business. Talk about that a little bit more.
Well, that's a complex issue, right? I mean, your identity, you know, not only your salary and your livelihood, and it's also kind of drives kind of how you value yourself as a person. And so, you know, we don't pretend to be, you know, counselors, but we do. There's an element of counseling in what we're doing that we try to help folks with.
Well, it probably takes a while for folks to take it in.
Absolutely.
You know, something that's important in selling a business happens years before, which is taking the appropriate actions to maximize the value. Do you all work with folks on that?
Yeah, to some degree, and we're going to partner with kind of experts in those areas, and kind of work alongside them to kind of connect them with the folks that, you know, do that day in and day out. But absolutely, you know, starting to make the business attractive to potential buyers is key.
Right, and you know, there is nothing in the world wrong. Nobody can do everything.
Right.
There's nothing in the world wrong with, you know, getting someone where needed.
Right.
Okay. Tell us about retirement and investment planning for entrepreneurs and small businesses, and what you have uncovered thus far.
And I think that's a great point to follow on with the succession piece, because anytime a business owner's thinking about selling a business, that preparation that goes into part of that preparation is going to be looking at what their financial plan is that's going to support their livelihood, that allows them to maintain their lifestyle, and gets them comfortable that they're going to be okay after selling this business. And so that's going to start well before you sell your business, but especially as you get to the point where you do sell a business, you want to have kind of a clear picture of how am I going to fund my lifestyle? You know, how am I going to live on maybe the proceeds that were generated from the sale of this asset? When
is it that, and you may not know this off the top of your head, but Social Security is going to run out of money at some point. When is that?
Well, there are different projections on when Social Security won't be, you know, be able to fund itself. Whether it's, you know, oftentimes you hear a 14-year, you know, 14 to 20-year kind of target, but there are some tweaks to those Social Security laws that could be made. I guess I don't get too extreme either way in terms of saying you need to count on it and it's going to be, you know, it's going to be your primary source of income. At the same time, you know, try to caution people that the benefit may look different 5-10 years from now than it does today.
I mean, you know, at some point the national debt has to be dealt with, and that's one of the most expensive programs.
Absolutely. You know, it is absolutely an expensive program. I'm optimistic that there could be some tweaks made in terms of on the funding side, as well as means testing for those that receive it, that could make it more sustainable longer term.
Right. Good. So, well, hopefully somebody will look at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, what about estate planning and trusts and all that kind of?
Well, that obviously can come into play again as you're doing that you know, kind of the planning, whether it's you've sold the business or you may still be in the business, in terms of how do we tax efficiently set this up to where it could be available to another generation, or maybe it's a piece of real estate that you own within the business, and maybe you're going to sell the business but you're going to hold the land. And so you might want to, you know, Tennessee, we're lucky, Tennessee's has some strong trust laws, and so there are some good trusts like Tennessee Investment Services Trust and the Tennessee Community Property Trust that can be utilized with different assets that can provide for some tax efficiency and some efficient ways to transition assets to, future generations.
Okay. Okay, so if you is there anything else you would think about for helping employees with their retirement?
Yeah.
In 30 seconds.
Sure. Well, I guess the concept of delayed gratification is a big concept, and so I always think the greatest way to have a successful retirement is to contribute, is to save, and don't get caught up so much on what am I invested in and how is my investment performing.
That you're putting the money in.
That you're putting in, and starting early. And staying.
So that is a great point for us to end on. Thank you, Destin, for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gents, we will see you next week. Bye now.